Hello, I'm Robin Gibson, and this is the Harvard House Money Morsel. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the bell so you get a notification of when we release a new video. I'm sitting today with Willie Pelser, Chief Economist of Harvard House. Welcome, Willie.
Morning.
Thanks for joining us. So, Willie, this week we had the GDP numbers for the fourth quarter of 2022, and I think it was a negative number. Is that correct?
Robin, you're correct.
What was happening there? Obviously, we know that the fourth quarter was when load shedding really ramped up, and obviously that's having an impact. But can you talk to the numbers and what actually was happening inside all the components?
100%. Robin, I would like to take the listeners back to the day we talked about the currency, and we said the currency is sort of the share price for SA Inc. So if something goes wrong, the share price weakens, it weakens and the rand weakens. So now we actually had numbers on the company, SA Inc. So from a company perspective, we didn't perform, minus 1.3% in the fourth quarter, and expectations from economists and analysts were for a minus 0.4 number. So looking through the numbers, you look at the sort of the various divisions within South African Inc.
Yes.
And the hurt, as you say, came from load shedding, and where it manifested was actually in the mining industry, manufacturing, and then our exports. Those were the three sort of main areas within the GDP that saw the fourth quarter stumble. And one can argue and say, but why exports? Now, the CEO of this company is actually in control of a few things, and ultimately it's his responsibility. So we had the power issue. So you can't manufacture if you don't have power.
Yes.
Mining, to some extent, they do get less load shedding, but they can't get the stuff out of the ground effectively, or to some extent. And then why the exports is because they're not in control of the export lines, in the sense Transnet.
Yes.
So get it to the harbors, there's still an issue. We can't get it there, and then we can't export. So that's the crux of the matter. So from a company management perspective, the controllables we're not controlling. And then the interesting thing in the rest of the numbers is you and I spend, so that's part of the economy. So in a struggling environment, we still spend, but we spend less. So your consumption part of the economy is struggling, but there's still growth, albeit a very small number. And then there are a few positives in between if you dig down under the consumer, or you dig specifically into the manufacturing, and then into another element which is quite nice to see is gross fixed capital formation is the buzzword, is the big word, but the buzzword is investments. So, our roads, the rest of the infrastructure, buildings, and all of those things. So within that small element, a small element within that is the corporate sector and the private sector.
Yes.
And the corporate sector is still ticking up, which is a nice positive from an investment perspective in the economy. But overall, not a great number. But if we look at 2022 in totality, because we had the first 3 quarters plus the fourth quarter, we actually grew at 2% positive. But it's just because the first 2 quarters were actually very great quarters. But there's still a bit negative in the sense, if we look at the size of this company, so call it its market cap, or the value of the economy, that's now lower than the quarter just before COVID.
Okay.
So that is, so although total GDP number for 22 is a 2% growth, it's from 2021 actually, but it's still lower from where we were. So the engine is moving.
Yes.
That's sort of the gist of the story.
So, Willie, as an asset manager, how does Harvard House take those numbers? Because obviously when you get a number print like that, I guess the feeling from all of us out in the street is, we need to get out of our investments, we need to sell, we're concerned. But how do you take those numbers and read them through to the actual shares that you're buying and holding in clients' portfolios?
Yeah, Robin, I think there's a great distinction again where we always say countries are not companies and companies are not countries. So if we look at this number specifically, the GDP is made up of a lot of parts. So what we do is we obviously look at the trend. So this is a bad quarter, but the trend is sort of sideways to up. Okay, so look at the numbers in relation to what is the underlying trend, and then delving a little bit deeper into the numbers. I mentioned the consumer side, restaurants, the hospitality industry specifically, and so on grew at, I think the number was 18 or 53% positive.
Sure.
So we've got a theme to look at the supported consumer and so on, and that fits right into that block. Plus load shedding, to cook at home is not a feature.
Yes.
So you actually go out. So that's why that industry is booming. So we exposed portfolios long before because we said this will be a trend. So we started to expose portfolios to entities like that, use famous brands as an example. If we go through to our sort of construction theme we have in place for the last 2 years, 3 years actually, if I go into that investment block and I start breaking down the numbers and we look at it, we see that the private sector is picking up. We've got the banking exposure, or listed banks in the portfolios for that exact reason, because they're financing these alternative energy. And maybe I can end off by using the example of Bidvest. It's a well-written company in our universe. It's a South African-based company. They grew profits, they grew revenue, and they grew the dividend basically at 15%. Now, if you put that 15% relative to the 2% of the GDP, that's what we do, is we look at companies that can survive and do business in an environment where the economy is just rolling over. What is interesting from Bidvest's numbers is actually they also make the point in the one division they sell electronic stuff, and they were just saying because of load shedding, people are not buying, call it a new TV or a new plug point or something to install in your house from an electricity usage perspective. I'm not talking about generators and those things, but they saw a slowdown because people are saying, listen, I must be careful what I buy now because I must make sure, will it work with a solar or will it work fine with an inverter or battery or anything like that. So it's just a small element, but they highlighted the same impact of load shedding.
Or more to the point, I don't want an electronic good because load shedding destroys it.
Exactly.
Willie, thanks very much for giving us some insight into those numbers and linking it back to portfolios. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Join us next time. Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye.